Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Lit Muse. Here stories are not just stories, it is a revolution. I'm your friend Ananya and today we are stepping into strange, symbolic and seductive world of Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. And I'm not alone. Today joining me someone whose insight I deeply admire, who is passionate about literature, feminism and everything in between. So please welcome my guest Shikha.
Hi Nanya, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to talk about Goblin Market today. It's one of those poems that stays with you so long after you read it. You must have realized it when you were reading it.
Exactly. When I read this poem for the first time, I didn't even realize कि कितनी depth है इस poem में.
Of course. And to understand this, we need to go through this poem thrice or just many times to understand the layers.
Exactly. And that's how you will get to know and understand this poem more deeply.
Of course.
So before diving deep into our discussion, let's understand what this poem is all about. So this poem is all about two sisters, Laura and Lizzie. Laura and Lizzie were totally different from each other. एक तरफ है लॉरा जो कि फ्रीडम को चूज करती है और सोसाइटल नॉर्म्स के खिलाफ होती है. दूसरी तरफ है लिजी जो कि सोसाइटल नॉर्म्स के थ्रू अपने आप को दबा लेती है. वो अपने खुशी को मार देती है सिर्फ और सिर्फ सोसाइटी को खुश करने के चक्कर में. ये कहानी गॉब्लिन्स को भी दिखाता है. गॉब्लिन्स ऐसे क्रिएचर हैं जो कि ट्रस्टवर्दी नहीं होते हैं और उन्हें एनिमल से कंपेयर किया जाता है. हम ये आपको बाद में बताएंगे कि उन्हें एनिमल से कंपेयर क्यों किया जाता है. गॉब्लिन्स रास्ते में लिजी और लॉरा को ल्योर करना चाहते हैं और उन्हें बोलते हैं कम बाय द फ्रूट्स. द फ्रूट्स दे वर सेलिंग वाज फॉरबिडन. लॉरा एंड लिजी, totally different from each other, chooses to act according to their nature. Laura, who loved freedom, chooses to eat that fruit of the goblin, while Lizzie, who was timid and was pressurized under the society, chooses to run away. और ऐसा नहीं था कि लिजी ने लॉरा को वो फ्रूट खाने से नहीं रोका. उसने रोका उसे, पर लॉरा अपने फ्रीडम और अपने डिजायर्स और खुद को एक्सप्लोर करने की क्षमता को खत्म नहीं करना चाहती थी. वो चाहती थी अपने फ्रीडम को एक्सप्लोर करना. वो चाहती थी अपने डिजायर्स को एक्सप्लोर करना. क्या ये गलत है? मेरे ख्याल से नहीं. हम ये डिस्कस करेंगे कि ये फेमिनिज्म के लेंस से कैसे सही है और कैसे नहीं. और उससे पहले मैं आपको बता दूं कि लॉरा मरती नहीं है. लिजी उसके लिए एंटीडोट लेके आती है गॉब्लिन से. लिजी ने उनका अब्यूज सहा. गॉब्लिन्स का अब्यूज सहने के बावजूद वो उस एंटीडोट को लाती है, उस फ्रूट के जूस को लाती है और अपनी बहन लॉरा को पिलाती है, जिससे उसकी बहन ठीक हो जाती है. और मेरे हिसाब से ये पोएम सिस्टरहुड से कहीं ज्यादा वुमेनहुड के ऊपर है. एक वुमेन जो दूसरी वुमेन को आगे बढ़ाना चाहती है, ऊपर उठाना चाहती है, उसकी लाइफ को सेव करती है. और इस पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी में ये बहुत जरूरी है. तो आइए अब हम समझते हैं इस पोएम को एक फेमिनिस्ट लेंस से. शिखा, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि गॉब्लिन मैन जो फ्रूट बेच रहे थे, वो फ्रूट किसी ना किसी चीज को तो रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है, क्योंकि ऐसे ही वो फॉरबिडन नहीं है. वो किसी ना किसी चीज को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है, जिसके कारण लॉरा ने उसे खाया तो उसका ये हश्र हुआ, लिजी ने उसे नहीं खाया, उसका एंटीडोट लिया, तो ये फ्रूट ही के अगल बगल सब कुछ घूम रहा है. द स्टोरी, द होल पोएम इज रिवॉल्विंग अराउंड दिस फ्रूट. So what does this fruit represent?
Of course, a very intriguing question to ask. And this fruit actually represents as a metaphor for indulging in a forbidden experience like emotional and sensual, and that a woman was taught to fear, that you can't indulge yourself in those kind of experiences because society expects them to be in a very certain areas. You can't step out of those areas. If you will face a dire consequences of it. So does Laura did.
नाउ आई एम प्रीटी मच श्योर कि लॉरा का जो डिजायर है फ्रूट को लेके, वो भी कुछ ना कुछ तो सिंबलाइज जरूर कर रहा है.
Obviously, this whole poem is full of symbolism. चाहे वो लॉरा के desires हो या फिर कोई fruit हो या फिर desires हो, everything is just symbolism, full of symbolism. और मुझे लगता है जो लॉरा का जो desire है fruit को लेकर के, that represents the woman's freedom that she really wants to do in her life. Whether it is career her body, her dresses, whatever she wants to wear, whatever she wants to do. She doesn't want anyone to intervene in it, and society just continuously doing it. And society hates the girl like Laura who rebels against the social norms and praises the woman like Lizzie.
एग्जैक्टली और मुझे भी यही लगता है कि अगर ऐसी लड़कियां जो रिबेल करती हैं अपने घर वालों के नॉर्म्स के खिलाफ या सोसाइटल नॉर्म्स के खिलाफ, तो उन्हें सिंपली एक बैड गर्ल की तरह ट्रीट किया जाता है, उन्हें कंसिडर कर दिया जाता है सी इज अ बैड गर्ल,
शी इज लाइक
fallen woman. That why we are considering any girl as a fallen woman if she is not obeying your orders?
Of course. And who has made those rules? That if you are following this kind of a rule, then you are like a superpowered girl. And if you're not following the social rules, you're a fallen woman, or just like you are not a good enough, something like that.
These things ना सिखा, I believe कि ये भी पेट्रियार्की का हिस्सा है. कहीं ना कहीं हमें ये सिखाया जा रहा है कि आप एज अ गर्ल ये करो, आप एज अ गर्ल वो करो, आप एज अ बॉय ये करो, आप एज अ गर्ल वो करो. तो ये सारी चीजें हमें सिखाई जा रही हैं जो कि हमें करने की जरूरत बिल्कुल नहीं है, जो कि हमारे लाइफ को बिल्कुल भी कोई इनपुट नहीं दे रहा है. इनफैक्ट वो हमारे लाइफ से बहुत सारी अच्छी चीजों को छीन रहा है, हमारे फ्रीडम को छीना जा रहा है. और आजकल की सोसाइटी में जहाँ पे हमें बोला जाता है कि पेट्रियार्की अब बदल चुका है, पेट्रियार्की नहीं रहा या कुछ भी, सो आई बिलीव पेट्रियार्की ने अपना फॉर्म चेंज कर दिया है, क्योंकि लड़कियां अभी भी खाना बना करके परोस रही हैं लड़कों को, और लड़के हैं वो खा रहे हैं. लड़के बाहर जा रहे हैं, वो टाइम का इंतजार नहीं है उन्हें कि टाइम कितना हुआ कितना नहीं, और लड़कियों को हमेशा टाइम रहता है कि टाइम देखना रहता है. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट वी नीड टू सी in order to see the patriarchal mindset of the people.
Of course. And it also shows us through this poem, we can see that how society just discriminate between two behaviors. That where if the girl is like Lizzie, who is very submissive and she is not ready to surpass the boundaries of this arbitrary social boundaries and moral boundaries, which only suppresses her. And how society hates the girl like Laura, that when she's trying to just assert her freedom and self-exploration, there's nothing wrong about it. And the society how just pressures her like
to be a good girl.
Yeah,
exactly. शिखा, what do you think? लिजी का जो रेजिस्टेंस था वो सही में हीरोइक था, क्योंकि उसने गॉब्लिन्स का अब्यूज भी सहा और उसके बावजूद लोग उसे इम्प्रेसिव बोल रहे हैं कि लिजी ने इतना कुछ सहने के बाद भी अपनी बहन को बचा लिया. उसका वो सहना लोगों ने बहुत अप्रिशिएट किया. तो ये कहीं ना कहीं हमारे सोसाइटी में भी नहीं होता कि लड़कियां सह रही हैं, जब तक इंड्योर कर रही हैं तब तक बहुत अच्छा, और जैसे ही वो रिबेल करती हैं तो पीपल आर बिकमिंग अगेंस्ट ऑफ देम.
ऑफ कोर्स ये तो हमारी सोसाइटी का ही पिक्चर शो किया गया है इस पोम में. किस तरह से जो द वुमन हु endures silently without even complaining about what she endures, and that woman is like a very good woman and very praised. They are like our mothers who endures everything silently and does not rebel against anything, any injustice that happened with them. She endures silently. The same thing is happening in her as well, where the Lizzie silently endures the goblins' abuse without, she doesn't rebel, she doesn't fight back the goblins, and even she was just very traumatized. She got herself back with the antidote to cure her sister Laura, just like that. And here we see the hypocrisy of the society as well, that how they are just showing us without even telling it clearly that how you should behave. They are telling with the two contrasting characters, Laura and Lizzie, that if you will behave like Laura, you will face the dire consequences, you will nearly die. And Lizzie, who keeps herself restrained and does not want to just explore herself, does not want the freedom, that kind of a girl can only be safe and protected. So yeah, this is protection, but at what cost? The cost of at the freedom and the self-exploration.
And I believe कि ये प्रोटेक्शन के नाम पे कहीं ना कहीं हमें कंट्रोल किया जा रहा है.
Exactly, that's my point. That society wants us to protect us. It's not a protection. It's not protection.
It's control.
It's control. They want to control us. You can't walk freely. You can't wear this. You can't walk like that. You can't talk like this. This is containment. This is not freedom. And this is the society. This is very disheartening that we still live in this kind of society where women has to restrain herself by doing everything. She has to sit at home. If you don't want to get harassed, you'll have to sit at home. what kind of
Exactly.
things. Yes.
This is what Lizzie had done. Lizzie resisted the desires.
Yes.
उसने कहीं ना कहीं अपने डिजायर को मारा और उसके बाद वो सोसाइटल नॉर्म्स के तले दब गई, तब जाकर के वो सेफ रही।
बिल्कुल।
और ये सोसाइटी का कहना है कि अगर तुम गॉब्लिन्स जैसे इंसान से बचना चाहती हो तो अपने घर पे रहो, गॉब्लिन्स के झांसे पे मत पड़ो। तो मुझे लगता है कि अगर अपने मिस्टेक्स या अपने चॉइसेस की करने का हक किसी को नहीं है तो क्या फ्रीडम है ये हमारा?
This is not the freedom. That's why I said, na. This is not the freedom. That's containment, and they are just restraining ourselves to be protected. And this is how we're really living in this life. And just being protected, you'll have to sit at home, being restrained. You can't just act according to your will. And this is what is happening all around us.
Exactly. Lizzie जो है वो अगर बच जा रही है इन सब चीजों से और लॉरा जो है वो अगर फंस जा रही है, तो क्यों ना सोसाइटी सोचे कि लॉरा को सही में बचना चाहिए था, वो इस चीजों से बच सकती थी अगर वो उन सब चीजों में नहीं पड़ती। तो क्यों ना सोसाइटी सोचे, अगर वो सेफ करना चाहते हैं अपने बच्चों को तो वो सोचेंगे। अगर एज अ पेरेंट, अगर हम भी पेरेंट बनेंगे तो हम सोचेंगे कि हमारा बच्चा सेफ रहे। तो आपका क्या राय है इसमें?
That's a very good question. That's a patriarchal mindset. They are not stopping the goblin men who are just abusing the others, Laura and Lizzie. No one is talking about them. Real predators are the goblin men, right? They are the one who is just threatened, who are just being the threat of the other people, Laura and Lizzie, the innocent people. What was the Laura's fault? What was the Laura? I'm just asking, what was the Laura's fault?
She's just following her desires. She's just following her freedom.
Yes, and she just wanted independence to choose whatever she wanted to do. And what was wrong in that? And that's why no one is just pointing out the finger on the goblin market. I mean goblins. Yeah, right. And just goblins who were just spreading the terror in them. And they are just living freely and walking freely all over the street. They come by, come by.
Yes, and even after Laura and Lizzie, they are still selling that fruit.
Yes.
ऐसा नहीं है कि लॉरा और लिजी के साथ कोई घटना घट गया है और उसके बाद वो गॉब्लिन्स गायब हो चुके हैं सोसाइटी से, क्योंकि सोसाइटी गॉब्लिन्स के खिलाफ कोई एक्ट नहीं कर रही है। वो अगर एक्ट कर रही है तो लॉरा जैसी लड़कियों पे कर रही है। लॉरा जैसी लड़कियों पे लांछन लगा रही है कि तुम गए थे गॉब्लिन के पास, इसलिए तुम्हारे साथ ऐसा हुआ।
Exactly. And we can associate with this and in our society as well, that whenever a woman gets harassed and everyone will say, what were you wearing? Why were you out at this time?
किसके साथ थी आप?
After you have been assaulted, you have been tortured, now you can't go outside. No one told about that man who assaulted her, the person who assaulted her, that you can't go out. No, you can roam around harassing other people, but the one who got harassed, you'll have to sit at home. Because you got harassed.
And even mothers say to their daughters that you should keep it a secret. You can't tell it to the society.
Yeah, of course. That's a very
you have been
hypocritic thought, I think.
So don't you think that this particular poem challenges the idea of fallen women?
Of course. And I personally believe that the whole idea of the fallen woman is just so preposterous. Who do people call fallen women? And readers must need to understand this, that Laura's fall was not because of the immorality. It was because of her natural desire, human desire, and it's just so natural. And there is nothing she has committed a sin like that. And some scholars even argues about it, that the punishment Laura faces was not because of it was not natural. It was socially imposed on her.
Exactly.
And that's why how society just suppresses you and just impose the kind of a thing that now you have not the good woman, you have a fallen woman. Now now you become free and you do whatever you want to do, but now you're not the good woman in a good woman category. So that's why Lizzie, who was just so morally suppressed and just so suppressed under the societal norms, she wanted to act according to the world, not according to her mind, not according to her heart, not according to her happiness. She was just trying to make the society happy out of it. And Laura chose the freedom. That's why everyone's criticizing it. That's why you are just you are in the verge of dying because you chose to be free. And that's why this is the hypocrisy of society.
और कहीं ना कहीं ये स्टैंडर्ड सेट कौन कर रहा है? ये सोसाइटी ही स्टैंडर्ड सेट कर रहा है ना, गुड वुमेन का, बैड वुमेन का। और मुझे नहीं लगता ये हक किसी का भी होना चाहिए कि तुम गुड वुमेन हो या बैड वुमेन हो। And even after we are studying and we are doing the job and everything, still we are supposed to do our home chores. You are not, the males are not supposed to help us. Even they are helping us, it will be considered as help. It will not consider as their responsibility. So, what is your take about it?
Even in this poem as well, through this contrasting character, at first of all, I'll just paraphrase it, what I have understood by this. Through this character, Laura and Lizzie, we understand that how a woman should behave, how the woman should be living. You should not be independent. You should not be like to want the freedom and to choose what she really wants. And even after, how the society expects women to behave like Lizzie, not like Laura. And that's why everyone is hating on Laura. And the same happens in here as well. In a society, it's very disheartening to realize this, that even after this poem has been written a long time ago in Victorian era, and there was a saying, there was a very popular saying, angel in the house, that if you're living in the house, you are an angel. If you step out of it, you become a witch. And that's a very, very disturbing kind of a thing. That if the male is going out of the house, it's like it's very good.
Nobody is questioning
Nobody
it.
is questioning it. And if in the second hand, if the woman is going out and she is pursuing her dreams, her career, her choices, then she becomes a fallen woman. That's a category. And if you're not going to fit in that, you will be called a fallen woman.
And I believe that society is very much frightened by us, by the women.
Of course.
Exactly. That is why they are not giving us those rights. That is why they are not giving us. We are demanding the rights. See how much freedom less we are.
You know what? What I want to say?
Yeah.
It's a very kind of hilarious thing, but I want to say that in this society, it's a very generous of the woman that we are asking only for the equality. If we will start asking for the revenge, then I don't know where they will go.
Exactly.
It's a very humble thing that we are asking only for the equality, not for the revenge. I don't think that they can ever be able to set the boundary or just be equal with us, because the kind of thing they had done to us.
So my point is that what this whole particular poem shows us, trying to show us,
just shows us through the contrasting character Laura and Lizzie that how we should behave and how we shouldn't behave. Like to be so-called protected, to be protected. Like to be a bhali ghar ki bahu beti. Yes. If you want to be bhali ghar ki bahu beti, you should be like Lizzie, not like Laura. Because if you will act on your will, then you will be called as a fallen woman. That's a kind of a thing. But in a modern society, feminism at its peak, and it's not about a bad word, something everyone says about it, but this is a very positive thing that every woman should have. And nowadays I have seen that there's a many women also think that's a very bad word, and they say I am not feminist.
Exactly.
I think that every man or woman, regardless of the gender, both of them should be feminist. Exactly. And that's the equality, nothing else. Equality, just the equality. And the social, on the basis of social structure, not on the laws, because we have gotten the every freedom, but on social structure we haven't got any.
Exactly.
That's a kind of a thing. I think it should be done by everyone.
So this was the harsh reality of Goblin Market and our society, which we have seen through feminist lens. Thank you for staying till the end of this video. If you like this video, then do share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Till then, stay tuned. Bye-bye.